So before we get started with the video, I just want to go ahead and say that I officially have a supported creator code now. So if you would like to support me, just go over to the item shop, press supported creator down in the bottom right, and then type in my code. My code will be on the screen now. It is spelled MYFII. Go ahead and press accept. You will see a green check mark pop up. And then in the top right, it should look like this. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get right into the video. Alright, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys an in-depth tutorial on how to instant edit on console/controller of Fortnite. If you missed one of my previous videos, I pretty much went over the absolute best Fortnite controller settings in my personal opinion. I gave you guys custom controller binds that I really felt were the easiest to actually understand and adapt to. But in this video, I'm just going to be explaining it a little bit more and actually showing you guys in depth on how it works. I'm also going to be giving you guys a course that you all can run in creative on your own that will actually help you guys improve with your editing on controller. But before we get started with that, I just want to go ahead and say, if you guys are new around here, make sure you do go ahead and subscribe, as we are on the road to 6K. We just hit 5K and I cannot thank you guys enough. Pretty much what I post on the channel is Fortnite tips, tricks, leaks, glitches, news info, pretty much the whole 9 yards. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure you do go ahead and subscribe and turn on post notifications so you never miss out on one of my videos. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get right into the tutorial. So getting started, go into your settings and go over to your controller and make sure you have the correct buttons bound to the correct actions. So just a reminder, this is a tutorial for people that have paddles on the back of their controllers, like scuffs or Xbox Elite controllers. I may make a video in the future pretty much going over how to do this without having paddles on the back, so people that actually don't have scuffs or Xbox Elite controllers. But I did mention this in one of my previous videos, is that there are these things called mod packs that you can actually get that actually give you the ability to put paddles on the back of your controller for like $40. So they're super cheap and you can find them at like GameStop. But yeah, so this is a tutorial for pretty much anyone that has paddles on the back, because without the paddles on the back, some of the actions that you're going to be performing are going to be pretty hard to do. They are still doable, but there are much better options out there if you don't have paddles. So of course, jump is going to be bound to right on the D-pad. Switch mode, or pretty much what that means is pulling out your builds, is going to be bound to B, and then edit is going to be bound to A. So those are the custom controller binds. So let's go ahead and get right into actually showing you guys the full tutorial. So go ahead and go and select creative, and then go ahead and join into a creative server, and I will see you once we're in. So once you are actually inside of creative mode, as you can see here, I have 3 kind of stations set up for you all to practice with. I'm going to be going over each of the 3 stations. So starting off, wait a second, who put this here? I don't know who did, but it's a pretty nice chalkboard, if I do say so myself. Very nice edges, refined, and honestly, it's beautiful. But getting on to station number 1, what this is that this is pretty much, I believe that they used to call it tunneling. I know not many people actually show people or like go over how to actually do this. This is actually how I originally first started out with trying to improve my edits. Now this was back before custom like controller binds were allowed, I believe. So what this is that you're going to start out, first I'm going to show you all how to make it, then I'm going to show you all on mine how to actually run through it. Starting out, you're going to go ahead and build a wall, and then once the wall is built, you're then going to go ahead and edit this and then put a ramp at the bottom. Once you do that, look straight up, place a floor and then a cone. Once you do that, just edit through the cone and the floor, and then place another floor, and then edit through that, and then place a wall, and then edit through that, and then pretty much repeat. So that's how you build it, and you pretty much just keep going and going and going and going until you've, you know, just kind of gotten bored, or you think it's long enough, or you're running out of room on your island. So pretty much what you do is that you're going to go back and you're going to grab a band-aid, or pretty much just any sort of consumable. I just use band-aids. What this will do is that this kind of stops me from like accidentally pulling out my phone and like my pickaxes and accidentally like breaking stuff if I'm moving through there trying to press RT to like select certain squares. So go ahead and start off at the wall. So as you can see, it says A to edit. Of course, that's because we have A bound to our edit. So there's no need to pull out your builds to actually start editing. You can just edit with the band-aid in your hand. Now, what this does, and the reason why instant editing is so nice, is because if you have normal like Builder Pro on, whenever you go to edit, you have to hold down a button. So pretty much if you are in the middle of, say, build battling someone or in a build fight, and you go and you are building and then you stop to actually, you know, maybe return some fire, and then you realize that they have built up on you and now you have to reclaim high ground or just whatever, and you go to actually pull out your builds, you may end up accidentally editing, say like the ramp beneath you or like the wall in front of you or the floor beneath you. You'll accidentally end up editing it and going into edit mode and being pretty much stuck, so you can't build at all, and then they get the upper hand and you eventually die. That is why instant editing is such a nice feature, and that's also why you never want your edit button bound to the same button that pulls out your builds. Now, of course, people on, you know, keyboard, they don't have a problem with this. This is just for us controller players that actually have to suffer with this problem. But it is an easy fix as long as you go ahead and enable instant editing or pretty much have custom binds. So what you're gonna wanna do, press A, and then you're gonna wanna pretty much just run through the course. So what you do is that you press A, you then, you know, select the tile that you wanna actually edit through, and then you press B. I had some people on my last video or the video with my settings saying that they still had to press B to confirm it. That's pretty much how it works, is that you press A to edit, and then you select the tiles, and then you press B to confirm it. You don't want to press A to edit and then A to confirm it. That just wouldn't make any sense. So pressing A, you will then select your tiles, and then you will press B to actually confirm it. Now, on the other hand, if you didn't have instant editing on, you may end up accidentally trying to confirm it, and because where you have to hold the B button down to confirm it as well, you may not fully confirm it, so you may be stuck in editing even though you've like already edited some pieces. You may be stuck in edit mode because you didn't hold it down for a split second longer, and so now you're stuck. But what this does is that this pretty much just allows you to always be on top of everything and be able to actually edit with fluidity, if that kind of makes sense. Now, this is not like an actual editing like course that I'm going to be showing you guys like my fastest times and all that stuff, but if you guys pretty much get the hang of it, the goal is to be able to continuously run without ever stopping. And one tip I will give that I've actually struggled with pretty much the entire time that I've been playing Fortnite is that I have a problem with trying to be too quick with my edits. Now, a lot of people, like people that just watch pros play, we see them kind of like flick editing where they like latch onto something and then they just flick it, and somehow it's like, and somehow they like edit corners out and they edit walls and they edit doors and they edit all that stuff. But if you're not playing on PC, which is where that's really, I guess, doable sort of, and not really that much on controller, like you may see a few just freaks on controller that are just super good at editing, that are really good at flick editing. In order to kind of get started with that, what I would say, and the tip that I've always taken, is kind of focus on the first square or the first rectangle. I don't really know what they are. I guess they're squares. And then focus on the last one. So don't really focus on the middle one, kind of focus on the last one. So what that'll do is that, say you start out and you're about to edit through here, like focus on the first and then the last one, and then like don't really worry about the one in between it. I mean, I guess you still kind of have to hit it, but as long as you're kind of focusing on those two, as you can see, like you'll never really like miss it, if that kind of makes sense. I mean, of course, there will be those times there that you will miss it. Say you're dealing with some like internet connection issues, or say like it's an edit that you're not really used to. So I'm really used to editing through the right side here. So if I try to quick edit from the left, I mean, I can still kind of do it, but just editing from this side is just much easier. And with editing through floors and cones, pretty much what I've always learned is that whenever you go to edit through a cone or a floor, it's kind of a little bit difficult at first. Like whenever you first start doing this, you will edit like this, and then you'll get stuck here, and then for some reason you just can't edit it, and it's because you keep latching on to the floor. So what you do is that instead of trying to edit when you're right here, try to grab on when you're right here. So say you're running and then you edit, and then as you go to edit again, you're then gonna latch on, because what happens is that you can't grab onto the cone from underneath here because the floor is there. But if you're able to edit out the floor before you really reach right here, now instead of looking at this, which is where the floor is that's been edited, you are instead looking straight at the cone. So now you can actually latch onto the cone and then edit out. And then once you do that, it's just simple, just rinse and repeat. Now, another thing that I do like to do, and I do actually recommend you all doing as well, is actually resetting the edits as well. So just run through here and just reset it. Pretty much what this will do is that this will get you in the hang of being able to kind of like not think about what buttons that you actually need to press. Sorry if you can actually hear my controller. I realize that it's really loud, but you don't actually have to think about the buttons that you need to press in order to actually reset builds. And resetting builds are very, very key, especially like when you're trying to edit up, or say you're stuck under like your own build and you need to like get on top of it. Instead of having to think of like, oh, what buttons do I need to press to actually get on top of this, or you have to like slow down and then you lose track of your enemy because you're focused on something else. Instead, what this does is this just allows you to just quickly, like without even thinking about it, just reset your builds and then drop down here and then just go ahead and just, my goal is to just run through here without ever like stopping the pace of my character, and just to confirm and reset all of these edits. Now, like I said, you can make this tunnel, which is what I call it. I think it's what most people refer to this kind of like little courses. It's just kind of like tunneling. But yeah, that's pretty much how you do it, and you can make it as long as you want. And the good thing about this is that there's no need for a code, and you can always kind of practice this, and this will always help you no matter what you do. So tunneling is probably one of my favorite things to do, just to actually practice with the speed of my edits. There are specialized courses out there that you go for special times and you do this and you do that, but in my opinion, it's just not really that worth it. So these right here are your basics, and as long as you get these 3 basics down, you'll be good. So getting on to number two. Now this is not a 90 tutorial, so I'm not even gonna like try to do these quick. I'm just gonna try to like show you guys what to actually do. So what you're actually gonna wanna do is that you're gonna wanna pretty much build some 90s. So just like 90 up, you know, you don't have to be fast, which I mean, if you do want to, this is kind of how like I learned how to 90, is that I just went into creative and just pretty much just like 90'd. They don't have to be anything insane, because this is not really what I'm showing you. What I'm showing you is once you build up a pretty good amount, the best thing, especially for editing, is once you're at the top of your 90s, and this is kind of like killing 2 birds with 1 stone, is that you're going to be able to practice the speed of your 90s and actually like the accuracy of them, because we all know that whenever you first start doing 90s, you get like stuck under like this, and then somehow you end up like underneath of like a ramp, and it's so annoying. But pretty much what you do is that just put your band-aid or your bandage, whatever you call it, back in your hand, and then just go ahead and just simply just edit down your own structure. Now what this is going to do is that, I don't know about you all, but I have been in several situations where I don't have redeploys. I don't, of course, you know, bouncers aren't in the game anymore, and I've been really high up and I need to get down, and I don't really have the mats to start waterfalling, which I will be showing you guys how to do in a second. But pretty much what this does is that this allows you just to get really good with kind of like getting down a really big, you know, pretty much just structure. So being able to edit down 90s will in turn kind of allow you to get even better at your editing on top of tunneling. So doing this, I think, is a really good way to actually improve with your actual Fortnite editing skills, especially on controller. So that one's super simple. It doesn't take as long as tunneling does, as it's kind of self-explanatory as how to do 90s. I may do a 90 course in the future, or just kind of like the fastest ways to kind of go from not knowing how to even do a 90 to being able to kind of like 90 all the way up to like max height. So getting on to the final one. Now the final one, what this is going to be is that this is going to be something that I've actually just recently started doing, and it's not that difficult once you actually get the hang of it. We've all been in that situation where whenever we go to start building, they're already way above us and they already have a clear shot on us. So as we're building up, they're already shooting at us and we're taking damage. So what a lot of us actually do, or what most people actually do, is that they'll build this and then they'll kind of freak out and then they'll turtle up and then they'll try to like get back down, and then they pretty much just went for high ground for absolutely no reason. And the problem with doing this is that they kind of expect it, and whenever you go to edit out, it's not you like that, you really don't have too much protection. So what I would recommend doing is practicing the ability to kind of cone and just run through your cone. So just run, edit through your cone. Now what happens is that whenever you place your cone and you edit, what it's going to do is that for a split second before it destroys itself, here I'll try to show you all actually what it looks like. I don't think I'll actually be able to, but what it does is that once you place that cone and it edits up, you can see kind of like the outline right here, is that you are protected except for this one little spot over here, which is the spot you're running out. And by the time that they try to get a good shot on you, you've already built another cone and you're pretty much doing the same exact thing that you were doing. Now, I am still fairly new to this. Now, I know a lot of people have been doing this for a while, but whenever you first start doing this, it's gonna be so frustrating. But if you've done the other courses for, 30, 45 minutes, even upwards of an hour, and you come over and do this, you're gonna be much better than just starting this off kind of like solo, because whenever you go to actually build and then try to edit through, you're gonna get stuck, and it happens. It's the same thing with trying to edit through the floor and the cone over here. It's just gonna happen. But once you actually get used to it, the absolute goal, of course, is to be able to run up the ramp without ever stopping, whatsoever. So I'll try to demonstrate it here, but this also has a lot to do with connection, and right now my connection is kind of being kind of wonky. So and the other thing that is another kind of like goal to do is to not do what I just did, but I did at the very top, so it's whatever. But I was trying to show you all, it's like not build floors right here. It's like, or not floors, but not to build walls underneath, because if you build walls, and that means that you're not 100% putting your kind of crosshair where it needs to be, and you're kind of like not panic building, but kind of just like spaz building, I guess you could call it. But the goal is to pretty much just like try to place the cone 2 floors up from you, so not right there, but right there, and then latch onto it. And as you can see, for some reason towards the top, I always still mess this up, but it's whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. Try to get to the very top. Now, once you are at the very top, as I told you all, I would show you how to waterfall. There is something about waterfalling that I do that I never really mess up too much on, because a lot of times whenever you see someone waterfall, they stand off the back. So what they do is they pull out their builds, they stand off the back, and then they start building. And as you can see, I didn't catch myself there. But what happens is that they're not looking in the right direction. So they end up doing this, and then they end up losing, and it doesn't work. So the best way, in my opinion, to waterfall is to not get up too high to where you can't get down. That's the number one thing. But sometimes you just can't help it. So what you do is that you do this and then you ramp. Now, a lot of people will try to actually put a floor instead. For some reason, anytime that I tried waterfalling with a floor, I always fell. I don't know what it was. A few of my friends also had the same exact problem. So I was like, hey, try ramping instead of flooring and you probably won't fall. And then they tried to actually ramp and then it actually worked. So just simple, just like this, just look straight down, and then you are just completely fine to actually waterfall off. Now, waterfalling does waste a lot of mats, so try to use it conservatively and only waterfall when you are in a dire situation where it's either you waste all these mats or you die. So, and I would much rather waste mats and try to refarm up or try to get a few kills and get some mats off them than die. So yeah, waterfalling is only for extreme circumstances. Don't ever just do it just to like show off to your friends, because that right there is probably like 200-300 plus wood. Like it's ridiculous how much wood you actually use waterfalling. But like I said, dire situations only and you'll be fine. So, and there y'all go. Those are, in my opinion, the best controller settings to actually use to instant edit, and the best kind of courses you can do by yourself, alone, just in creative. Now, I do recommend doing these for more than, just 10 minutes each. Like, I know this one right here, the tunneling one, I actually, when I first started doing, I worked on it for about 2 hours straight until I got it down 100%. The 90s one, and then editing down it, I worked on that one for about an hour. That one is really, really like useful. Like I don't think you understand how many times I actually use this in actual fights. And then being able to cone and then run through cones as you're building up to someone is also extremely useful, as that is a really good aggressive maneuver to actually know. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Do you already use these instant edits? Do you do any of these courses? I know I've showed this one off before in one of my videos, so if you all do remember that, make sure you let me know. Or if y'all just have specific custom edits that you think are better or that you want to let everyone else know, please do not be afraid to leave it in the comment section below, as I also want to see what you guys use. And if y'all would like to see me do a video without a scuff and do it with just a normal controller, please let me know. So yeah, with that out of the way, hopefully y'all did enjoy the video, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.